Despite Eminem not responding on Wax yet, Nick Cannon has decided to release another diss track, and this one is the third diss track. The title of this is called The Invitation is Cancelled. As you guys know, on the first diss track, he invited Eminem to the Wild 'N Out show, but on this track, he's saying that invitation is canceled. And on this track, it's actually just him alone. No features from battle rappers that are on the Wild 'N Out show. It's just straight Nick Cannon. And on this track, he decides to go the racial route. He claims on this track that Eminem is racist by using an old song that Eminem made when he was like 16 years old, where he talked about black women. Before we get into the details of that and why Eminem did that track and the history behind it, let's go over the track, some of the lyrics. Let's talk about how good the track is. Then let's talk about the sample that he uses. He dropped a music video for the diss track, and in the beginning of the music video, you can hear a bunch of times of when Eminem has dissed Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey, and he actually uses a Tim Westwood interview where he talks about Nick Cannon, and if they got into a battle, Nick Cannon would win, which obviously Eminem was probably trolling at the time. You know how he likes to joke around. But yeah, Nick Cannon was using a bunch of samples from the old diss tracks that Eminem had to this more recent one with on the Fat Joe track, so on and so forth. And then he starts it out saying, "Think about it, punk motherfucker, you've been disrespecting our queens for years. Matter of fact, why don't you tell them how you really feel, Marshall?" And then boom, in the hook comes a sample from an old Eminem song called Old Foolish Pride. It was a song Eminem recorded when he was about 16, 17 years old, so he decides to sample a certain part of that track where he says black girls are bitches, black girls are dumb. He samples that over and over on the hook. And throughout the whole track, he takes the Lord Jamar route of saying that Eminem is a guest in hip-hop, and why did they let him in if he's racist. Throughout the verse, he even mentions, he says, "I don't give a fuck if your ass was young, can't let that slide, that's all my son." So he's basically saying, I don't care that he was young when he said this, this is not going to slide. He then continues and says, "All them guys that was with you, you treated them like endangered slaves." So he's probably referring to 50 Cent, Stat Quo, whoever, Obi Trice that was on Shady Records. So I don't know how they're going to take to this by hearing this. Continuing on the pre-chorus, he says, "Read the ISIS paper, you racist. I see why you hate us. Pretend you love us, but you're really jealous. Wanna be brothers. Christopher Columbus, hip-hop wish you discovered. Now I'ma slay you for my sisters, cousins, daughters, and mothers. What'd you say about the original woman?" And then the hook plays once again. In the second verse, he mentions once again Eminem being a guest in this house. He said, "Lord Jamar told your ass you was a guest in our house. I'm trying to find out who the fuck let this pest in our house. Close the door, apology tour. For sure they're gonna say I'm race baiting." Then on the outro, he actually calls out any black rapper that's defending Eminem. So this includes 50 Cent, Royce the 5'9", Obi Trice, Joyner Lucas, basically anyone that you can think of after this happened that's defended Eminem. He says, "You heard him, that's how he feels about us. You just gonna keep letting that ride? Oh yeah, the Hop and Bop and all the house guys that keep defending this motherfucker, holla at me, I got some books you should read. Oh, and Marshall, I tried to give you an invitation, now that invitation is canceled." So in that outro, he's calling out all of them, so it's going to be interesting to see if any of those people respond. Obi Trice has responded with 2 diss tracks towards him, but it's going to be interesting to see if 50, Joyner Lucas, Royce the 5'9", so on and so forth, decide to get on Wax to go at Nick Cannon. Now let's talk about the actual sample being used, which is Eminem talking about black girls being dumb and where that sample came from. Well, the song is called Old Foolish Pride. It was something that Eminem says he recorded when he was young after a black girl broke his heart. So how did this song surface? Well, if you guys have seen my Eminem versus Benzino Who Really Won documentary, it details exactly how that song came out. Basically, Eminem and Benzino were going at it. Benzino somehow got a hold of this track from someone close to Eminem and then decided to do a whole press conference at the time, premiered the song and said, "Look, this is Eminem, he's racist, this is how he feels about black people, and you guys are letting this slide." And obviously over time, people accepted Eminem's apology because he kept doing well as an artist. On Eminem's book, The Way I Am, he actually addressed that racist song. He said, "The tape they played that day was something I made out of anger, stupidity, and frustration when I was a teenager. I had just broken up with my girlfriend who was African American, and I reacted like the angry, stupid kid I was. I hope people will take it for the foolishness that it was, not for what somebody is trying to make it into today. The world at that time accepted that apology and kept it moving. So now that Nick Cannon has brought it back up, it's going to probably stir another thing, but I highly doubt people are really going to look into it that much anymore. Only the people that don't know about it. There are people that don't know this track exists, so some of them are going to be surprised and are going to look information into it and see, why did this happen, so on and so forth. But overall, the Nick Cannon track being racial bait essentially is kind of whack and corny. Right now Nick Cannon is just basically, in my opinion, trying anything to get Eminem's attention and hopefully get Eminem to respond to him. Like I said in previous videos, I hope Eminem doesn't respond because it's just not worth his time.